When we explain the 3 common attacks and how to defend against them, I understand when I say 3 common, I got a lot of people raising their hand. They may have some different options, some different ideas of what's common. I'm going to tell you what I think is the 3 most common attacks. The first kind of attack that we have is that we just have a regular punch. Now, when I say punch, I don't mean a perfect boxing punch. What I obviously mean is your drunken haymaker hook. That's usually what we see out in the streets. The second thing that we see is we obviously see some kind of a push. This stuff you see happen all the time. People get in their face, one guy pushes. Well, that's attack. Someone's physically attacking you. We need to know what to do in that kind of situation. The last thing that we have right here is the most common attack that I see is your takedown. Now, when we talk about takedowns, understand that we're not talking about a perfect high school single leg or double leg takedown. It is going to get messy. It's usually some sort of a bum rush of some sort, but it's still a takedown. Someone's still firing for your low lines. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to talk about these 3 common attacks and how to defend against them step by step. For the first kind of defense against the most common attack, we obviously have the punch. What I like to do against this punch right here is the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to jam, and I'll talk about that in a second. Then from the jam, we go ahead and we go right into our knee strike right there. So if I go ahead and I have Mark in this kind of situation, once again, when we talk about a punch, we're not talking about a perfect little, boxing jab right here. We're usually talking about a wide kind of a hook. And when we jam, all we're doing is we're getting into this range right here where I can go ahead and get inside in close quarters, but also stop the attack. As we're doing this right here, then we're going to go ahead and we're going to follow up with a knee strike. So I'm following up right here just like such. But that's the kind of defense that we're talking about when we defend against that common haymaker hook. For the second most common kind of attack and the defense against it is obviously a push. When we talk about defense against a push, our hands want to be up. If you notice, even in the previous one right here, we want to make sure that our hands are up. Why? Well, because once again, we want our hands up here to protect our face, but also ready to get into action as well. This works in actually even more perfectly here when we defend against the push. First thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to do a pluck. After the pluck right here, then we're going to go ahead and we're going to go right to our headbutt. So if I bring Mark in here real quick, when he goes ahead and my hands are up and he pushes right here, once again, this is a time where I want to go ahead and I want to pluck on down just like this. After I do that, then I'm grabbing the headbutt, boom, just like this. Now, when we talk about a headbutt, there's obviously a lot of different ways we can do a headbutt. I want to make sure that I cheat. And all I mean is I want to use the strongest part of my head, which is the top, up against the weakest part of his head, which is obviously his face. So notice that when he pushes right here, I grab right here and then I get under it just like this, and I'm pulling this person's face right into the top of the head, boom, just like this. That is the defense up against the push. The last kind of defense we're going to cover over this common attack right here is called defense against a takedown. Now, what do we do right here? I like to work with what's called a stun move, and then after the stun, we're going to go ahead, we're going to follow up with an elbow. We talk about the stun move right here. If I bring Mark in here, when he's taking me down, you got to remember, this is not going to be a great single leg, double leg takedown. It could be, but I want to understand that I want to defend against the bum rush right here. So when he does this, I want to take my forearm and jam it right there in the brachial area. This is going to stun the person. As I do that, I need to make sure they have a good base under me, and then I follow up with an elbow right here to the back of the head or neck. Obviously very, very devastating. When you guys train this, please be careful. Once again, when he comes on in here, I'm stunning, boom. After the stun, boom, then I'm coming down right there. So one last time, as he comes right in here, boom, right here, and then this is dropping right down on the back of the neck or the back of the head. That's once again defense against a takedown.